Hello, music lovers, and welcome back to the Woodshed. This week I had a couple of great guests. I had Ryan Fluff Bruce and Uncle Ben Eller come into my channel, and we discussed a little topic called NAMM. NAMM is a trade show, and obviously this year it's not happening due to the pandemic. That said, the topic is NAMM outdated? Let's find out. Roll it. Hello, music lovers. Welcome back to the Woodshed. This week, we've got from downtown Knoxville, representing the Senior Citizens Women's Volleyball Championship team, Ben Eller.
Spike the ball. I'm a downtown dandy.
And then from parts unknown, weighing in at 352 pounds at a whopping 7'6", Ooh. Ryan Fluff Bruce.
This is the worst good cop, bad cop guitar lesson I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah. It's dumb cop, dumb cop. I don't know how you're gonna learn anything.
Yeah, this is weird. Like you could play that. Well, Andy, is that how I know? You could, but that's not how I would do it. Yeah.
So the interesting thing is I reached out to Fluff and Ben and I said, look, I want to do a video regarding NAMM. And that's the only topic that they kind of know that I said. What I wanted to do is because all of us go to NAMM almost every year for the past, however long. And I wanted to ask the question, nice and simple, is NAMM still relevant? Is NAMM outdated? Like, I know this is, I intentionally don't do clickbaity titles, and I guess it is kind of clickbaity, but the reality is, I'll kick the ball to you guys as soon as I just give the viewers a little something here. The reality is that for years, in the age of the internet, manufacturers have not needed NAMM. For those that don't know what NAMM is a trade show. Around 150,000-ish people go to it. Every manufacturer that you can think of, from the guy that makes tubas and mic stands to, John Suhr and EVH and all that, Gibson, whoever, they all go to this thing. And the original reason was so that manufacturers could meet dealers. It's just a trade show like CES or E3 or any of that stuff. The reality is we're in the internet era, and most musicians take advantage of that technology. This year being the first year that I'm aware of that Winter NAMM, Summer NAMM, and Winter NAMM have not happened. Every manufacturer that I've seen over the past 2 weeks, PRS did a great one. I love theirs. Everybody's been doing really cool stuff, announcements, virtual announcements. Fender announced some stuff. Everybody's been kind of doing it via the internet, and that's been interesting to watch. That's a different question that I want to ask later. But right now, Ben and Fluff, thoughts on that? Is it even relevant? What's your thoughts on that? I just want to pass the ball.
It is really interesting to see how, as you're saying, a lot of these manufacturers and stuff have figured out ways to showcase their product and roll out their new line without NAMM, because NAMM has just been that fixture, that staple forever of that's how, these companies let their new products be known to the multiverse and stuff like that. And, myself, I remember NAMM as long as I remember playing guitar, because right when I started playing guitar was right when my family got our, first HP Pavilion computer, and I was all over Harmony Central and stuff, which is actually where Andy and I met, is on the Harmony Central amp forum and stuff.
Lonely fan.
It was the Lonely Fans is what it was. So, I would check out Harmony Central every day during NAMM week as a young guitarsman, just to see what the new Ibanez was, or what the new Fender or Paul Reed Smith was, or whatever, because there was literally nowhere else that I could see it, And I did that forever and ever and ever until I started attending NAMMs and being a part of it and seeing everything there in 3D.
Was your first NAMM with me?
Yeah, it was. It's what, 6 years ago? 6 years ago.
It was one of those Surf Factory parties. We'll get into that topic later, but yeah.
But yeah, basically, it's just really interesting to see how things are working out this year, considering that I've known NAMM as long as I've known guitar, whether it be from afar or in person. So just like a lot of other things that we encountered through 2020 due to COVID, it's really interesting just seeing the solutions people are coming up with to figure out how to deal with not being able to do things with large numbers of human bodies in a room. So I've enjoyed seeing the creativity that a lot of these companies are putting out there to get their line out there to the public.
Fluff, what do you think? Is NAMM relevant? Is it outdated?
I mean, I come from it as a former artist rep. I've been an artist rep for Evertune, Positive Grid, and most recently Joey Sturgis Tones. And I also planned our last 2 years NAMM booth that they were there. I'm not with them anymore, but I was responsible for I did the layout, I did the planning, I did the budgets. Paying $500 to get a single power strip put down on the floor is ridiculous. And I think it is for us on the musician side, it is a great excuse for the hang. We always love the hang. I mean, any touring musician will tell you the best part of touring besides playing is the hangs that you get to go to each city. That's an amazing part. We're social creatures. However, on the business side, it is this ancient, bloated, union-run thing, and the amount of paperwork I had to do just to get a divider installed was mind-numbing and so archaic and old school. And it's all about who you know, and I talked to a guy, and you go to that office, and then you can only park in that spot between the hours of 3 and 6 to load in. A booth, and that's for a small booth. A small booth cost us.
What do you hang on. Let's interject right there. Let's assume that nobody knows what we're talking about. How big is a small booth in your opinion, Fluff?
Okay, so on a blank trade, we're talking about a big hall that's the size of a football field, and you have 4 of those fields next to each other. That is the space of the Anaheim Convention Center. It's massive. A small booth, but the first year we did it, the smallest booth that you can get was a tiny square. I believe it was 10 foot by 10 foot.
It's 10 by 10, I think, yeah.
Yeah, very, very small. That cost us, I think it was $10,000. And we had to have we ran everything off of a single power strip. That's 3 computers, interfaces, lights, PA, all that stuff. That is
madness.
That was $10,000 just for the space.
Yeah, you didn't add-ons. Yeah.
Yeah, let alone travel costs, parking, hotel, all of that stuff. The second year we had a much bigger space, and we shared it with our sister company at the time, URM. And our share of that, I think it was I think I have the notes in here. I think it was a 25 by 25 space. That was $25,000 just for the space. And then it was $500 for power strips. And then it was for the divider and for the curtain for the other company. It was like another $500. If you wanted chairs to rent, they would drop off the chairs for you, and they would be there waiting for you when you got there. Each chair was $150 off the chair. Yes, it was mind-numbing, and I jumped up and down. Even when I was I was the artist rep for 2 Notes, audio engineering. I would jump up and down saying, why are we spending this amount of money when we could get so much more for so much less? Like, even if you wanted to do old school print ads, it would cost a fraction of this stuff. Like, there's no point, because you don't get any return as a company from NAMM. You don't get a return. It's a flex and it's a hang. And those things are valuable, but as a company, from a business standpoint, it's a complete waste of time.
I think the very first time I met you, I don't even know if you remember this, but I remember the 2 Notes thing. I think this was years ago. The first time I went to NAMM will always have a dear spot in my heart. I bought my first Sir at NAMM years and years ago, and John was there, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to go in the booth?" They would do a soundproof booth where you could play the amps, and so put jam with Scott. So I got Scott Henderson was there, and I jammed with Scott. I didn't realize which Scott they were talking about. So that was like the way my relationship with that company stepped off. And now here I am with, this stuff. It's like so that, like you said, this flex, this artist rep, this thing, will have special places in our hearts, on that standpoint. And that flex is, months of of Flex in that the photos that keep getting shared, the videos that keep getting shared. I mean, like the Guthrie Govan at Tone Merchants thing pretty much launched Guthrie. I mean, that like launched him into the stratosphere.
Totally. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. And talking with, I'm a Fishman pickup artist, and, you know, hearing the old stories about when NAMM used to be in Chicago from Larry Fishman in the early 80s and stuff, like NAMM used to be the only way all of your dealers could actually physically get their hands on a new product. Yes, that was the only way they could check out your new prototype pedal that was going to come out in 6 months.
Yep.
And it was a very valuable thing to have NAMM for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, Ryan. That's part of why I'm so glad that you're a part of this conversation, other than your rugged good looks and extremely impressive facial crop, is that you've been on the other side of this than us. Like, the sides of NAMM that I have known have been, again, young guitar fan, watching the new products roll out. There's a dog getting on the couch. She's got it. I think she's got it. Yeah, she's got it. Anyway, so, you know, I've been on the side of the computer watching the new products get rolled out and seeing my favorite stars demo the new guitars and stuff like that. I've been on the side of it that gets to go and see everything in person, and, you know, mainly just, what do they say, kiss hands and shake babies.
Yep.
And get to see my friends and fans. I've kind of just been on the fun side of it, is what I'm saying. I've never been on the back end and experienced that headache of what it is like setting up a booth at NAMM and stuff like that.
I mean, like, just doing some of the Sir stuff with me, you've seen like Chris Justice and those guys that work out there, and Kevin and John, like losing
their hair out.
Just like trying to, and they're not trying to do anything complicated. They're just trying to get in.
Yeah.
You know? And it was funny, I mean, how many times, you know, Fluff, I'm sure you've had to like take a guitar in, not as the exhibitor, but as the artist, right? And dude, that is like an act of Congress. You know what I mean? It's
it's TSA. And
they're like, well, how do we know that's yours? I was like, it's got my freaking name on it. Like, literally. Like, this is me. But so that's irrelevant. But you have seen Ben, to get back to the topic. Like, I think John has said this publicly many times. They spent over 6 figures in their booth, and nobody thinks of the Sir booth as the PR.
Extravagant, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's big and it's nice. They don't do a sister company, which a lot of guys do. Like Rhodes and people will partner up to lower that overhead. I guess they're not Rhodes, KSR will lower that overhead by, you know, partnering with different people, different other manufacturers and stuff. But like, you go to a Gibson room or a PRS room, you know. So here's the next topic. Yeah, like, so I think Fluff really nailed it in his view, is like, the cost to return, the ROI, if you will, is really horrible from the exhibitor manufacturer.
It's tough. It's tough.
It didn't used to be, like he's saying in Chicago. But today you already know what's coming out before it's coming out. Like, I've been playing this little Wampler prototype. The entire public has known damn near everything about it for how long? A year? You know, it's like, so now it's like, what point does NAMM have in today's world when artists are already, you know? So that's an interesting thing that ties us a nice little segue into the artist, the value of the artist going to NAMM, right? All three of us have been in that side of it too, where it's like NAMM represents a couple of things that are really cool, which is, in one weekend, let's say you do a long weekend, Wednesday to Sunday or something like that, it's one of the only places on earth you can go every single night and see freak show level musicianship at any venue in town. And I mean, world-class concerts. Like Gibson last year was the night after my Elements of Sound thing at you know, and my night was cool. Like, as a guitar fan, you had like us and Josh Smith and Andy Timmons, and like, of course, shameless plug right there. But like, the next night was Gibson at the same venue with Slash and Billy Gibbons, and like people that do not share the stage together ever in an average year. And and so you get to go to this thing, and of course there's a little bit of like, who do you know at Gibson to get into that party? But I mean, God, that's 2,000 seats. You know, your chances of getting in to the Pliny Intervals jam at House of Blues is pretty good if you want to go. You know what I mean? As an average person, you know that they're going to do the thing. They're going to sell the tickets. for what, $30? I think that show was like 30 or $40, you know?
Yeah, they're never crazy.
It was a wall of awesomeness. So, and if you're an artist, I want to add one more thing before I pass the ball. You're talking about your own gear all weekend, all cameras, all eyes on you. And I know it's about the gear, but that is all eyes on you too. You know what I mean? So where do you think the effect is the same for the artist sitting at home, or let's use the new Ibanez line as an example, or the new PRS line as an example. PRS just did a guitar for our friend Mark. Ibanez just did guitars for, I think Martin Miller did a 7-string. Laurie got one. Josh Smith. These are people that we're all friends with, you know, personal friends with. Do you think that impact for them to have the handful of videos that are going to be really hot for a week or two in the attention deficit society that we live in is effective as all of that hoopla that happens with NAMM, where you get like websites like Truth and Shredding, resharing the reshare to the reshare? It just seems like in person, the organic hype is so much bigger. What do you guys think about that from the artist standpoint, the artist perspective? Let's say you got a new signature, whatever, coming out. Fluff, you want to go first?
So I'll start with the company side and then go to the artist side. From the company side, my ultimate answer that I was given, going back to my example of spending $25,000, why would you do that? Well, you want to legitimize yourself as a serious brand, willing to spend the money to be on the floor, to shake the hands. It's a flex. That's what it is. And conversely, for an artist, and I'm speaking from my own experience, when you are actually playing the Ernie Ball booth, or you know, you go to the Fishman booth and I play every day at noon and I have my own signature thing, that's a flex, and that legitimizes you way more than someone sharing the video that you shot in your bedroom. So
it looks great on a resume.
It looks great. And it makes the better flex easier to cover because everyone is already there physically in the same place. That is of huge value.
And I'll add this, just being, I know I'm going to sound like old man yelling at a cloud when I say this one. When you play in that Ernie Ball booth and every camera is like in your face, you can see who can play and who can't.
Yes, you can.
And I mean, when you say that's a flex, it's like, can you turn it on when everybody in the room is an amazing player and every camera's at you, and then across the 10 feet from you is Frank Gabali or something? It's like,
Stevie Wonder's walking by.
Yeah, like, can you play there? And when you say the word flex, I also want to, I love that term, but I'll you know, that's not a negative term. It's like that helps show the community, you know, because let's be honest, when you're at home, you can doctor and edit and punch in and do whatever you want to do. You know, no matter if it's a live stream or not, it's like, you're still like, dude, I do live streams, but I'm sitting down in my home with a freaking, you know, s'mores next to me. It's like, you know, ice cream or whatever. So it's like, yeah, that's comfortable. Being in those horrible environments.
Dude,
it's tough.
Like Marco Miniman looking at you, like, come on, dude.
I was playing the Ernie Ball booth this last NAMM, and we're about to go on, and Lukather and Steve Morris go back because Sterling was in the back, and they're watching, and I'm like, oh God.
No pressure.
Yes, Dixie Dregs and Rosanna sitting over there looking at you.
Here's some hardcore riffs. But I ended up having dinner with Steve Morris that night, and he was like, hey, awesome. I saw your shit. I have no idea who you are, but I'm going to check you out now. That was really cool. And I was like, wow, okay. So there's a huge value to that if you can actually strut your stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's a perspective that I don't have, because the only time that I've ever experienced NAMM has been the age of looking at the booth that you're playing and just seeing this. Like, I was not at NAMM back in the day when people weren't live streaming and videoing everything so they could put it on Instagram and show the world that you can't play that lick that you did on the record or whatever. That's perspective I don't have. I've just always lived in that age, and it is very high pressure, because I think what a lot of people don't realize, you know, from the computer screen side of things, what a lot of people don't realize about NAMM until you've actually been there and been sitting there playing in a booth or whatever, it's not comfy at all. Just the average noise level at NAMM is like hanging out on an airplane runway. I mean, it's just constantly 120 dB all the time.
Yeah.
And then you also can't really turn up at these booths very loud when you're playing. So basically you're sitting there playing straight into whatever amp with, you know, one 12-inch speaker pointed directly at your face, like the least flattering tone possible. And everybody's like, do the dance, monkey. It's hard.
I mean, like you and I did that duo thing last year, and you know, it's packed, dude. It's packed.
Oh my God, yeah.
And everybody wants to see the shit, you know, like the tough stuff, you know. I'll add this to it. I think everyone, especially guys that maybe are weekend warriors, will know what I'm talking about. You ever play outside? You ever take your amp, play out?
I hate it.
Okay, that's NAMM.
Yeah.
It's so big, it does that thing to your low end where it's nowhere, it doesn't exist, and then like your fizz levels are the only thing that are cutting above the white noise of the audience. I mean, so yeah, that's a negative side of playing it. As a fan, let's swing back around to the positives of it, because the questions aren't definitive here, right? As a fan, you could go and meet. If you're a Pantera fan, you can like go meet Rex. You can Steve Vai, Gene Simmons. You're talking people like, and I mean in Nashville, we're focusing on Winter NAMM, but Nashville's the same kind of thing. If you're a fan of the telly chicken picking thing, it's like, dude, Vince Gill's walking around with no entourage,
Go say hi.
Hey, just go say hi to a living icon. You know, it's like, and the great thing is in that environment. There's a little bit, even though people are trying to peacock and do their feather thing, there's a little bit of equality there, because I guarantee you Vince wants to hear the newest cool thing that's happening at a, you know, somebody that's making a great deluxe copy or, you know, or whatever. And that applies to the rock world, metal world. It's like, yeah, you may be freaking Corey Taylor Slipknot or whatever, but like people are going to be like, he's going to be curious at the new things that are coming out. What are the new tricks? What can I do to make my craft better? And I think that's one of those little leveling things where it's like, if you're just becoming a musician and then maybe your mega level tour, when you're at NAMM, you still want to kind of see what UA's got to announce, or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Neve or whoever, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. What do you, so Fluff, when you're thinking about, let's do this. When you're thinking about your most fun, greatest moments of NAMM, we'll do a greatest moments and we'll do a funniest moments. So let's go greatest moments first, Fluff. What's yours?
Actually, this last year I had, it was a pre-NAMM thing. All of us were there for NAMM. It was pre-NAMM at Boutique Amp Distribution at the Friedman shop. They have a little showroom, and it was the debut of the new Soldano stuff. I'm playing, I'm riffing, and I'm really feeling the amp. I am in the zone. I am just chugging away, and I don't see it at first. Steve Vai walks into the room, so it's me and Steve Vai, and he sits down, and people are like, hey, like that, and he goes, no, keep going. You sound great. And I was like, this is fucking weird.
Wow.
He just sat there and he was just like, what are you playing? Like, that is nuts. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's amazing.
That's that thing though. You can really see that Steve, even though we put him in this deity level,
he's one of us.
Yeah, he still loves it, man. Still, he's like, I want to know about the new, like Steve's always been on cutting edge of gear. Like, look at his rigs over time. Bogner came out, he's playing Bogner. You know, it's like Axfex come out, he's playing Axfex. Synergy comes out. He's always been at the forefront of that stuff.
Sure.
And
he's looking. He's always looking.
Yeah, and then Fluff and Vi, when I think musically, not in the same genre, not even in the same building, you know, but like the curiosity of like, wow, that's really amazing. Like that hunger. That to me is a great NAMM thing, just that I think everybody gets to experience when you're there. It's not that specific, right? But that's that energy, that flex. I love that term.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think in terms of like great NAMM experiences, Andy, I think the first Elements of Sound show that you put together that I was playing on in your group, and also ended up playing for Andy Timmons on.
That was the little club.
Yeah, over at Slide Bar in Fullerton.
Yeah.
That was the first Elements of Sound show that you put together.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, we're wingmen. I was there with you all the way through, kind of planning and stuff like that. So I knew how stressful it was for you. It's just a total gamble to be like, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. I don't know. We just got to roll the dice and find out.
Great lineup, though, wasn't it? With like Timmons and Nick Johnston and us. Yeah. Like, great lineup, man.
Oh, it was amazing, man. So just like being there through the entire stressful planning phase of it. And then also too, like, remember everybody's boards got TSA'd, like Timmons' boards, his stuff got wrecked, your stuff got wrecked. There's like all these technical difficulties. And then to you know, finally make it to that night, and the show just ran seamlessly. It just ran like clockwork. It was sold out. It was packed. A lot of our friends were in the crowd. A lot of our family from Sur were in the crowd and stuff. And also too, I got to find myself playing for Andy Timmons, who's been one of my heroes since I started playing guitar.
That was your first gig you've done with him, right?
Yeah, that was the first time I got to play with Timmons.
You played with him, a handful of times.
Many times, yeah. So like that to me was like a definite NAMM highlight, just to be like, high risk maneuver and then absolutely land it. I was very, very proud of that moment, very excited about that. And again, that's the kind of thing that like that only happens at NAMM, you know? It's kind of like, I'm so at odds about it, because it's like, do we need this huge stadium full of new gear to demonstrate and show off products? No, every company in the world can set up a webcam and get an artist in there and have them demo the stuff. And now it's on the internet and everybody knows about it. We don't have to have it for that anymore. But then if you lose NAMM, you lose the excuse to have all of us together in the same city at the same time. And watch the magic that can happen whenever that occurs. Because otherwise, when is that going to happen? You know, especially in normal years where everybody's constantly out touring and doing sessions and stuff like that. It's like NAMM is kind of the, you know what it's like? NAMM is like the family dinner where everybody's got their school and their work and their hustle and bustle. And then it's like 7 o'clock, it's family dinner. This is the time we all are obligated to get together. And now we're back off of our separate ways, you know?
Yeah, that's a great segue. I do want to ask the funniest moment. You guys got a funniest moment at NAMM, and then I'm going to use that segue to get us to the last topic. You got a funniest moment?
I mean, it didn't happen at NAMM, but you and I have got into plenty of great shenanigans after NAMM, going out to crazy 70s clubs and stuff like that. That would be like a 2-hour-long episode right there. Just, you know, the crazy night I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll do an episode on that. But
I'm trying to think of some good NAMM-specific things.
Fluff, you got one?
A couple years ago at the Randall booth, there was this kid that was on an 8-string Ibanez, and he was playing the new at the time. I think it was the year before the Satan came out, and the Thrasher and like all the Mike Fortin design amps. There was this kid that was playing Meshuggah riffs so spot on, but he was playing them at like 20 BPM faster than the actual dude. He was playing Bleed like, and he was nailing it, right? Meshuggah shirt, and only at NAMM. So I was off a little ways, but I saw it happen. Frederick from Meshuggah walks up behind him, right? And everyone's like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, let's just watch this happen.
Yeah, let's just watch this. And Frederick stands there for like, he lets him riff like a solid, like just a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes. And then he pauses and he taps him on the shoulder and goes, "Hey man, you want a job?" It was pretty funny.
That's amazing. Oh, you know, Andy, I did forget my actual greatest NAMM moment is there's this one time I was in a booth and dude, I ran the tables. I picked up a bass and I played my hardest, fastest slaps. And then I grabbed the guitar with the most strings on it and I sweep picked as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And then I got signed. That's when I got signed.
NAMM. That's when you got signed. Yeah, that's the whole
signed at NAMM.
Everybody plays at NAMM like they're trying to get a record deal, you know?
Just sweating and trying hard.
Sweaty tryhards. Ben, your transition was really great into the last thing I want to say, which is, or bring up to ask you guys, is where does NAMM go? do we need it? And I guess
Right.
that ties into the first one. And I'll say this: I think it's very evident we don't need it on a manufacturing kind of side thing. I think the guitar world, we always have to remember that we are this big. The video game industry is this big. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
the film industry.
yeah, like everybody else is huge. We're so tiny. We need this. This is like the Cannes Film Festival or something.
Yeah,
You know,
Sundance.
like you don't need to do your film at Cannes Film Festival. Like it's not a thing, but it's like that event needs to be there. And so with NAMM's price gouging and money hoarding, and I love the people that put it on, but when you're charging $500 for a power strip, you know, and like you've now seen this year due to COVID that your business model is extinct, you know, in a lot of ways. Like Ibanez does not need to go to a trade show. Like they don't need it. But the flip is the community, I think, needs it. And when I say community, I mean the people that work at Ibanez, the artists at Ibanez, the fans of Ibanez. And this goes to every brand, right? I think that's my opinion, is like we need to have this trip to Mecca, music Mecca, you know what I mean? Where it's like the pilgrimage happens, like Ben said, and we do family dinner. So what do you guys think about that last topic? Like how do you go forward with it? If you are NAMM, what would be your wish list? Maybe let's just say you're CEO for a day. How do you figure it out in that you see that your manufacturers have already got your dealer? Like, let's be honest, like CERT can't deal with any more dealers. They can't make all the guitars they're already doing. Like you order a brand new CERT, you're 13 months out, something like that. It's like they can't make what they got. They can't do anymore. So on that aspect, it is just a money hemorrhage for manufacturers to do this thing. On the NAMM side, you're not needed because they can just go to the internet now. But it's still needed. Like the trip to Mecca is still needed. So what do you do? Like chew on this for a minute. Ben, you want to?
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing, and I've been thinking about this ever since you suggested this topic for our little chat today. And I think that what we're seeing with NAMM right now, and what we're seeing with companies doing their innovative rollouts of their products without NAMM and stuff like we were talking about, what we're seeing is what's been happening with all of our non-musicians friends industries for the past year. I have so many friends that work office jobs and stuff, for example. And due to COVID, they are now working home office jobs. They're doing all their work from their laptop and stuff like that. So we're seeing all these mega corporations going, oh, we actually didn't need to rent that 13-story office building and build cubicles and all that stuff. We actually didn't need that. But I didn't realize it until we couldn't do it. We're seeing like the kind of things that are necessary and unnecessary. Everybody else's jobs have been experiencing that for like a year now. But for us, this is kind of that hitting our industry in a lot of ways.
It's necessary that we have the trip to Mecca, the pilgrimage, the family dinner. Like, let's get to that angle of it.
Right. Well, here's the thing that's going to be interesting about it. I think just from a purely business sort of standpoint is I think that we're going to have a lot of these like huge, you know, CEOs and stuff of these like mega companies like Gibson and Fender and stuff like that. They're going to look at their numbers at the end of this year and be like, wow, we didn't do NAMM and we got killer sales. Because as you guys know, like every gear company is reporting record numbers. Like last year was the biggest year for like every gear company on earth.
Insane.
And even like, you know, mom and pop music stores and stuff like that turn out record numbers.
Yeah.
Somehow, amazingly, in that, Guitar Center managed to go bankrupt. Explain that to me somehow.
They do that every year. I think that's their business.
Yeah, that's their business model. So so the thing about it is like I can see people being like, wow, we didn't do NAMM and we made tons of money. Guess we don't need to do it. But it's like, it's hard to really use this as a model of if this is needed or not, because this year is just so screwed up anyway. I mean, music sales are so high because people aren't taking their kids on vacation. People are staying home. Got to give them something to do, get them a guitar.
I know it's a little early because it is January 27th of filming. And it's a little early to say this, but in my opinion, my prediction today, we'll find out in the comments in a couple of weeks, but my prediction today is the Flex will not last as long. The digital NAMM Flex will not last. If you recall, Ben, when we would do NAMMs, we would do SIR shows or anything like that. Fluff, you probably got plenty of content that you would film at NAMM that would drip feed all the way into.
That's true.
lie, you know? And I just do not, my prediction is the digital launch and the hype of the digital launch video will not be as cool, last as long as the organic one guy filming a cell phone of Steve Lukather or Steve Morse playing the brand new purple Steve Morse Dixie Dregs guitar.
Yeah,
and that
like it's happened one time, and if you're
and
there,
that
you're
video
there.
would get a billion views, and it wouldn't even be to a content creator's channel. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Steve's on fire. You know, like that content lives so long. Like,
Good point.
I mean, my whole YouTube career before this year was non-existent, except that if you looked me up on YouTube, it was on everybody else's channels.
Yeah, everybody else getting great numbers off of you.
Like, I never had to worry about it because it wasn't my thing, you know. But like, I want to know, like, so I got a little off topic, but you know, the thing is like the flex isn't as strong, right? So what do you think about that? And then Fluff, you can jump in too on the needed, how do you deal with it? Imaginary CEO for a day, like just take that and run with it.
Okay, so here's what I would do. Do we need it? No, but do we want it? Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the hang. What I would personally do is I would extend it to start on Wednesdays, make the first 2 days public, get that out of the way, and then make it strictly industry only for 2 days, and then have Sunday be a press day or whatever. But I would, because right now it's such a mixture of, oh, my friend got me a pass in or whatever. So now you just have such a slush of the people that are there. The hallways, I mean, to anyone who's not been in NAMM, it is literally like that scene in Uncle Buck where he's in the house party and kind of shimmering down the stairs. That's NAMM in a nutshell. You can't even see the color of the carpet. It's so packed on Fridays and Saturdays.
True. And if you're a dealer, there's no way to do business in that environment.
No way.
And you can't tell who's legit as an artist. And I hate to use the term legit, but like you couldn't tell if somebody was like a road guy for Katy Perry or something and genuinely was getting ready to drop $5,000 on something, you know?
No, you couldn't. I would make the first 2 days public, and that way, and you know what? Sell tickets. Sell tickets for $20.
Sure. Yeah. People would pay it. You kidding me? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Also lower the prices, because the sad fact of the matter is companies do want to do that and participate and see the people. However, they don't want to do it for a $500 power strip that they're and they're not allowed to use their own because the union guy has to plug it in. Otherwise you get fined.
Yeah. That
kind of stuff is so old and archaic. That needs to go away. Now, if it did and the prices came down a little bit and the entry point was a little cheaper, yeah, I could see it actually having a lot of longevity. But other than that,
just for giggles, what would be your entry point for a 10 by 10?
You know, if you charged, let's see, if do packages, do 10 by 10 power, and one kiosk, $1,000.
Yeah.
You know, that's not crazy.
And you're still printing money by the time you get done with 16,000 exhibitors.
Oh yeah, and if you're selling tickets.
Yes, because now you're selling tickets. So you're supplementing that, and you're allowing the people to come in, and you're kind of bridging that gap between relying on the artist to kind of feed you the new, you know, you kind of make it like CES or something like that. Like,
exactly.
Look at that model. I mean, geez, those things are ginormous. That's a business model to follow.
What's the big car when SEMA?
Yes, I've always wanted to go to SEMA. That's not open to the public, but
okay.
No, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge, anyway. Because
E3 and CES, they have public days, right?
I believe they do.
Like you're almost making it a direct comparison to like almost like, hey, 2 days of Comic-Con.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yes,
that's great. Let's get NAMM on the horn. Let me call Mr. NAMM right here.
Get Mr. NAMM on there. And hey, while you're on hold, I just realized we never got to ask you your favorite NAMM happening. It just occurred to me. We didn't get to get yours out of there, Andy.
Gosh, man. I have two. One was the year that we announced the whiskey barrel, Andy Wood rig. And the first year we did these, they gave me a call and they said, hey, we want to talk to you about the signature models. I was like, oh, great. Mine didn't sell. Nobody wants a hot rodded Telecaster these days. That sucks. And reality was they were calling me like, dude, it's a huge success. They're sold out for the next however long, and we want to do another color. And I was like, awesome. What color do you want? I was like, well, do we have to do a color at all? I mean, we torch the bodies. They look cool when they're torched. Can we not just put a protective coat of something on there that's nice and thin? Sure, we'll do it. Whiskey barrel, black pick guard. Awesome. Standing there, and a young man says, me and Ben are standing there, and we were hanging out in the booth. And I think Mateus and some of the other Ian Thornleys, and we were all there doing like the in front of your guitar thing. And guy goes, he looks at Ben, and Ben knows where I'm going. Yeah. He looks at Ben and he goes, hey man, if you could play any guitar in this booth and it'd be yours, what would it be? And Ben,
which one would you pick?
I was like, I don't know. Ben picked something super cliche, Ben. It was either like bright pink or it was like flat black or something. Yeah, it was like super cliche.
No in between.
No in between. So dude looks at me, and I swear to God, I'm standing right in front of my guitar. And a 13-foot photo of me like holding the guitar, like on stage with the guitar. And he goes, man, if you could have any guitar here, which one would it be? And I go, probably the one with my name on it. This one's pretty cool.
Wild idea.
It's like, that's like double edged, because it's amazing and flattering to even, that's like, I think every guitar player says when they get a signature model, every guitar player that has a signature model always says, and this was like a childhood dream. Like Mark just said it this week when he did his PRS thing, it's like this checklist thing that everybody like wants. And to be part of that was awesome. It was amazing, amazing feeling. And then for it to end up so funny, was really cool too. My other one would be at Nashville NAMM. I purposely, in my professional career, avoided meeting Nashville session king Brent Mason for years. I wrote him a letter when I was 16, and it hangs on my studio hallway. I have a hallway that runs right here, and it hangs on the wall. And he wrote me back. And Brent was like, hey, it's so good to meet you. My record's coming out, and I sing too. It's like all these like random details, And I just thought that was always really inspiring to me, that he took time out before the internet. Like he had to like write it and mail it and ship it. That was amazing. So I've always kept that, treasured it, And for years, I never the paths would almost cross, and I would avoid it because, don't meet your heroes, right? It was always that thing of like, because it can go south real quickly, And finally, it was inevitable. I was playing at 2:00 in the afternoon. Brent was playing at 2:45, and he came in, and I was finishing up my set, and he just goes, oh man, you're just so good, dude. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, it's just outside of respecting any player, like a Lukather or a Morris. I mean, like, this guy's like the reason I picked up the electric guitar, and Eddie Van Halen's the way I discovered rock and roll. It was like, those are my two, and everything else fragments off from that. Those are my big NAMM moments. So that was it.
That's awesome, man. Well, the thing that,
and the other one with the elements of sound with somebody dropping off because their picture wasn't big enough. Names, but let's just say that.
After it ends, I want to hear that story.
Oh yeah. Oh, you do.
So yeah,
I'll put it this way though, man. Like in terms of, if the industry needs NAMM or not, I think we'll really be up to debate. I mean, based on everything that we're saying right here, I think Ryan, you had some really great observations and stuff about it. And like I said, I think it's just going to be so hard to say because this whole year is just so jacked anyway. It's like people are going to be selling tons of gear because everybody's stuck at home. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they did an online launch instead of NAMM. There's no causation correlation there. But I will say, just from my perspective and my NAMM experience and stuff like that, I will say I have absolutely sorely missed getting to see all of my friends and Ryan, as well as my fans and everybody else. It's like I've missed the hangs very much, for sure. That's what I've missed the most.
Hilton lobby after it's all done, Marriott lobby after it's all done, Rich and Bev and Tremonti and
Arrigo.
I mean, like we could sit here and name everybody, like, God, I miss that we can't do this, 10,000%, man. Yeah. So with that said, gentlemen, if you've got any closing arguments from the prosecution, the floor is yours. Any thoughts? Any closing thoughts, Fluff? You good?
I think it's a waste of time to do a peanut butter and grape jelly. I think that's a travesty against the sandwich. Strawberry jelly, that's just the way to go.
I agree. The first time I ever met Ben was at NAMM.
The first time you ever didn't meet me, punk.
Yeah. So Andy, you walked by, and then Ben was right behind you, and I was like, "Holy shit! It's Andy and it's Ben Eller." Ben, and he turns to my buddy Greg, who's right next to me, and he goes, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey, dude." Turns around and keeps walking, and I was like,
cold-blooded.
And dude, the three people who are around me who actually knew who I was were like, damn.
The funniest thing is like, I wish that I could say that I'm like a comic mastermind that instantly formulated, like, that would be the funniest, coldest thing to do. I legitimately, like, it was probably one of those days where I've been toasted by 120 dBs of cymbals and sweet bass.
That's not it, Ben. You gotta.
I literally didn't look at it. Like, I didn't even see it.
I'll give you the truth, Fluff. I'll give you the truth. I'm about to give it to the whole world right here. I've toured with Ben a lot. It's been a blessing to get to know Ben and make music with him and work with him. It's a nightmare to tour with this guy. Nicest guy on the planet. But there's two things. Ben never knows where he's at. His sense of direction is absolutely, unbelievably bad. Like, we will leave the house. We will straight up leave the house, and the house is like the southern way of saying wherever you're at, the hotel or whatever. We will leave the hotel, and Ben will walk. I mean, you can see the convention center a mile away. You can see, and Ben's like walking back towards, the wrong direction. Like, Catella's that way, and Ben's going. I'm like, hey,
it's unbelievable.
And so, like, the other thing is, like, Ben too will take extreme pride in details on things like hand sanitizer, drinking water, all of this like self-care stuff. But like when it comes to like awareness, social awareness, there could be a full on like bank robbery mugging scenario 8 feet from him. And he's like, hey, man, what do you think about those new nail bomb pickups? Is that a thing? Somebody's dying behind you, Ben. Will you turn around?
I was homeschooled.
So that story, that's why I cracked up so big. Is like that story.
You can see it happening.
Airports. We would do these cruises, these shipwreck and stuff. And like, I'm just like, at least when I get Ben and the drummers, Andy Campbell, at least when I get Ben and Cam on the boat, they can't go anywhere. I can just leave them alone. They literally cannot get lost. But at NAMM, dude, if think like a child, if you don't see him for a couple hours, you're like, dude, where's Ben? Like,
we got to track him down. I'm telling you, I could probably use one of those, like, those like kitty leashes that you see of like the harness and like the stretchy lead. Like, I could probably use one of those, because otherwise I'm just like, I don't know where I'm going any of the time, but I'm just so distracted by everything. It's terrible.
That got really good to me. All right, guys, stay on the line here, and we'll tell you the story that's not safe for work, as they say. And I can't thank you both enough for being a part of this and hanging out the opinions. Thank you, Fluff. Thank you, Uncle Ben. This was really cool. You guys rock.
Thank you for having us. Good to see everybody. I wish that we were all doing this in the flesh, in the person. Again, the hangs is what I miss the most. So miss you, dudes. Hope to see you again sooner than later.
All righty. Cheers.